to another episode of OATS Uncut, Orator Academy Talks Uncut. We are unscripted, uncut, honest, raw, straightforward conversations. Why? Because life is simpler and easier that way. So why not? I bring you a lot of interesting, inspiring people on this podcast because we have so much to learn from these people around us, and we are so blessed to know them. And I'd like to introduce one such person in my life around me, Dr. Satty Gill Keswani. Dr. Keswani, welcome to OATS Uncut.
Thank you very much, Vineeta.
And I got to know you because you are my friend Sonia's mother.
Yes.
But I had always seen your signs and heard so much about you from people in the community. I think so many people almost worship you because you gave them the gift of family by helping them
I
have
don't know
babies.
about worship, but yes, I've enjoyed my work, and it's been I'm grateful for what my profession has offered me. And of course, I started my practice 45 years ago. I will not give you back my age, but you can guess.
No, I think 45 is just a lifetime for many people. So tell us how you got into this particular profession. And it has definitely been a gratifying journey. That's why you're still at it. I mean, at this age, it's amazing.
Thank you so much. It's very complimentary.
It is.
But age is mind over matter.
It is.
If you don't mind it, it doesn't matter.
I agree. So don't mind it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I wish we could just have the simple mantra of life and keep going. And you have. You have lived it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, you asked me about how I got into this profession.
Yes.
When I was doing my residency, I did not know how to help a patient who wants to have a child. It was not part of our training. I mean, I did 1,000 deliveries. I did 200 C-sections, but did not know how to work up an infertile woman. And then the last 3 months of my training in OBGYN, there was a lecture by a Dr. Sophie Kliegman, and she was teaching us about infertility. And I was just in awe of what knowledge there was to do. So that's how I became interested. And I was offered a job with Dr. Kliegman for 2 years.
How lovely.
In New York City, but it was quite a travel to the city. But then I opened my own office.
So you've had this office. We are sitting in Dr. Keswani's office right now. So this office has been here for how long? How many years have you worked out of?
I have to think about my daughter's age.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Otherwise, Sonia will never forgive me.
Exactly.
Okay, so for a long time.
You're right. Very long time.
A very good long time, though. So, and what was your sweetest experience, or is there an experience that you remember with love and fondness, or some with regret? Any regret?
No regrets, except that when certain patients come to the end and we cannot help them, that's very painful. For the patient, plus myself, that I couldn't help them fully. But 80% of infertility is treatable, but 20% is not. And the most problem is that we know enough about female infertility, but not enough about male. And the men don't want to participate. They don't want to do a sperm count. And you told them to go to a urologist. They don't go. But I rule out male infertility early part of the workup of the patient.
It's very interesting that you bring that up, because I remember in one of our conversations, you showed me an article about you standing. I think there was a picture of you speaking. You talked about...
That's the picture.
No, you were talking about the inequality, gender inequality.
Oh, okay, that was... okay, I got you. Gender equality, women are still second-class citizens. I'm sorry to say, we have many advances, but we have many hurdles, and I face them all. One being female, then foreign, and brown. So 3 odds. But I was able to go forward.
Yes, foreign and female, but forward.
Thank you.
Nobody messes with a skilled person who's got everything that the world needs. And I think it would be a loss to the world if people were just recognized for the color of their skin and gender and ethnicity. It is quite shameful, and it is a little despairing when you say that you faced it.
Yes, I do.
And so many years later, the battle continues.
And it continues. And I think we women have to show a way forward for the younger generation. Because even if we have made some strides, but not good enough.
Not good enough.
No,
Not
there's
good
still
enough.
discrimination, even in the practice. The male physicians just can't see how I became a specialist. You know, what did you do this? So it's hard to convince them.
And why should there be a need to convince them, right?
That's right. That's right. Even when I was interviewed to go on the staff of my hospital, St. Barnabas, I was thrown questions that were like I was doing my medical boards. So I said, I did not come here. I didn't think I was taking my boards. So they stopped. You know, usually 5 people interviewing you.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's very sad actually, and it's sometimes frustrating. So, you know, when I work with my students to make them beautiful, communicative, effective, impactful speakers and confident speakers, I look at each of those children, and girls a little more than boys, because I'm a little biased, that they need to find their voice, use their voice for themselves and for others if they can, and think of lead positions. I'll tell you my recent experience. I applied for an open seat on our local planning board, and I was invited for an interview. I've been very active in the community, you know that.
I see that.
And I was invited for an interview, and I walked into a room full of all males who were interviewing me. So, I mean, I don't have a problem because I see beyond ethnicity, gender, because I want people to see me as the person who I am and what do I bring, rather than me being a woman and me being a brown woman. So, but it's so stark that you can't avoid noticing it.
But you know what? I think we are a backward country. As much as we think we are in the best country of the world, but
Most developed country, no, not really.
not developed, but richest country. I can agree there.
Not developed, but
Even
richest.
in our research for my work, the females are not looked at. So that disparity is continuing, and we have to train the younger generation, which you are, and God bless you for doing that.
We can only try, because I also believe in leading by example. And when I look at people like you, then I really get even more, driven, because you have been doing it for so many years. So what's our excuse? You know, if we stop or we slow down, we slow your momentum that you've built for us. That'll be shameful if we don't leverage it and take it forward.
Definitely.
Right?
I had high school students interning with me, and those who were interested in medicine. And most of them, they got into the medical field. And that's another thing I'd like to point out. The profession of medicine is under duress because there was an article in one of our AMA journals, where are the doctors gone? Most physicians are leaving practice because of how corporate America wants to take over medicine. We cannot make our own decisions. They decide for the physician, and they have no training. So that's the sad part.
And what frustrates me about the medical profession these days, Dr. Keswani, is the fact that, so I called, what was the problem with me? I had a rash on my face, and I didn't understand what was the rash from. I hadn't consumed anything new, and I had not applied anything new to my face, so where was the rash coming from? So I called.
What was the symptom?
It was around my mouth and around my sides and
Oh,
chin.
you mean a rash?
Yeah.
Like hives?
No, it was just dark in color. It wasn't boils.
It was
No swelling.
elevated.
It was not swollen, nothing like that. But it was just dark. And but anyhow, so I called a dermatologist's office. I called a couple of the offices. So some people did not even call me back. One office called me back, and this is probably December. This one office calls me back and says, well, we have an appointment in July. So this is over the phone, and I said to the lady, I said, oh, it's such a shame that I could not time my rash better. I wish I had it in end of June so I could make the July appointment. But it's so sad on my part that I couldn't regulate my rash. I called an ENT when I had ear problem, and I could not get an appointment for 3 months. But because I have friends who are doctors, somebody knew somebody, and they got me in out of turn, and I was looked at and I was treated, and I became okay literally overnight because the treatment was impending and needed. And but for people who don't know people,
exactly, where do they go?
Where do they go?
Well, that is why we're facing a very tough problem of doctors leaving the practice of medicine, because of the way the corporations are treating them. And of course, the insurance companies are getting paid the maximum where the doctors are suffering. So the doctors don't want to do that anymore.
So all that big bills that you end up seeing when you get any medical procedure done, doctors don't really get all that money.
Oh no, maybe 10%.
Maybe 10%.
Well, depends. Some Medicare, when it's got Medicare, they may cover 80%. So you have to still have another insurance to cover the other. They only do maybe 50%. So you still have to pay out of pocket the other 50%. But if you have the coverage, we call it supplemental, then you cover again another maybe 30%. You still have to pay out of pocket.
Yeah, so I didn't know that. I just thought that the medical bills are getting higher and higher, but it's the corporations, I guess, pocketing the money, not the doctors.
That's right. And they're hiring the doctors. Talking about dermatology, I came down with hives in August. So it took me a month to get to the dermatologist.
And you are a doctor yourself?
And I'm a physician, and I know the whole group, but they have been taken over by the company.
What was the sweetest experience that you've had in your profession? Or, I mean, I'm sure there are multiple. It's probably hard to mention one, but is there one that kind of stands out?
The gratitude the patients have when they do conceive is immense. So my joy comes in when I hear that they have a positive pregnancy test. So all our efforts were rewarded. But as I said, then the 20% that do not succeed, it's very hard to pacify them. And primary infertility is when they don't have any children, and that's 15%. And secondary is, did I say 15% for the first? Then 10% for the second. And so we try our best, but medicine is a science. It's an art. You practice the art of medicine, which is getting lost under the present conditions.
Yes, definitely. It's not the same. I remember growing up in India, you would go to the doctor, the same doctor, and he would probably have the same 4 pills for everything and one standard price, but you still ended up feeling better because the whole relationship building exercise that it entailed.
So important. You know that you're giving up your symptoms to someone else who's qualified.
Yeah.
So that's quite a satisfaction.
Would you have done anything different in your life from what you did, actually?
Well, let me tell you, my father was the inspiration for me to go to medicine because he wanted to be a doctor. And I did not know until recently, my youngest sister in Montreal said to me, did you know that Dad got accepted in Oregon to medical school? I said, no, I did not know that. She said, yeah. And I said, okay, that's why he pushed My younger sister is an anesthesiologist.
Okay.
That's why they pushed us to go to medicine. I wanted to become an attorney. And you know what he said?
You would have been a great one.
It was my first choice. And my father said, Beta, it is not a noble profession.
Oh. No offense to attorneys.
Exactly. Don't tell that to any lawyer.
Don't tell that to any lawyer. We know lots of attorney friends, don't we?
Yes, we do.
So do you think, so that brings us to a very interesting thought. So in our generation, or maybe it still continues, parents had expectations of what we should become.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So, but I don't think we have that option to put that kind of an expectation
in our children.
Yes.
No, because we are in the Western world.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it works in India? That parents can say, this is what I want you to do, and they can get it.
I think it still does.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think because, like your experience, your first choice was to be an attorney, but you kind of lived up to your dad's expectations and became a doctor.
That's right.
So, in your case, then you would not pressurize your child.
Oh, no. No. Both my children, I think they got the news. They did not go into medicine. They saw my work. They know how difficult
and demanding.
So they are both in the finance world where they can make money. One doesn't go into medicine for money. It's the passion of helping and getting the patients better.
Yeah. But I feel like I will not put not that I did things that my parents expected of me. But I feel that I never ever put any kind of expectations to my children that, hey, this is what I want you to be. And I never did that because I disapproved of me going through it. Even though I didn't, I rebelled. But I never kind of put that pressure on my children. So I'm a communications coach. I feel how you communicate professionally and personally can do wonders for you as a person and as a professional. Do you think your communication skills with your patients have played a key role in your profession?
I would have to say you're very correct. I had many cases where I always wanted initial consults for both husband and wife together. Many times the male didn't want to come in. And many patients would say after the first consult, Doctor, he says, she's pretty good. So they think that the female, even the community. So you see how the brainwashing is.
That is true. And I see you dress so beautifully that the red is absolutely and perfectly placed because today is also the Lunar New Year. And you're wearing bright red color. So we are recording this on Lunar New Year, January 29th. And you are wearing the perfect, appropriate color for the day.
How about that? We didn't plan it.
You didn't plan it, but it turned out to be perfectly placed. So what is the importance of appearances, like how you dress and how you present yourself? Because I can't stress that enough to people.
That's true. No, as a professional, you have to. As a professional, the first impression is what you look like.
What you look like before people decide if they want to talk to you or not.
Exactly.
People don't get it. I've seen people who will say, I'm in America, I can wear anything I want because that's America's freedom, nobody cares. It's not like Europe that you have to dress for the theater and dress for the opera and dress. No, but if you go to the theater and if you go to opera, you will see some people really dressed up. And I think it's the respect to the event and respect to the place you'll be, respect to the person that you will be meeting that you dress up for. So I appreciate you dressed up for me and for this podcast, and I try to dress up for you on this podcast too.
Well, I was going to wear my white coat. Then I decided no.
Everybody knows you're a doctor. You don't have to wear your white coat.
Yeah.
But look at you. I mean, even that ring. May I see it?
Yes, you may.
How beautiful is that?
It's for my country of origin.
That is beautiful. It's a turquoise.
It's a turquoise, and I went to a wedding where my outfit was blue. So it was turquoise, and it fit.
Yeah, and the nails are done, and there's a beautiful bracelet, a bangle on her wrist, and her matching turquoise earrings. So how beautiful it is to pay attention to small detail like that. People just feel, oh, I don't need to dress up anymore. People know who I am. People have seen me in my youth and what I could look like. But why don't I look my best at every day of my life?
Exactly. My youngest sister, who I told you is in Montreal, she dresses up every morning. Lipstick and all, it doesn't matter. I said, Vinny, it's so early in the morning, you dress up. I said, so when I get out of bed, I get dressed. So I think that's something to remember.
Yeah, actually, a friend of mine in LA, I had visited her 20 plus years ago. And she used to be like that. She was my college friend from Delhi, but she would, I would wake up at 7:30 or so. She would have woken up at 6:30, and I would always see her properly dressed with light makeup. Not too much, but light makeup. She would always present herself beautifully. And at that time, I had little children, so I would think to myself, oh, I don't have the time for this. But I appreciated looking at her like that. And I thought to myself, when I have some time, I think it's a great idea to present yourself beautifully and look your best.
Not to interrupt you, but let me tell you the obstacles that I overcame.
I want to hear that and let people know also.
As I told you, the 3 odds being female, brown, female, foreign, and brown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's put aside. But because of the discrimination against women, it was very difficult to get into a residency program.
How shameful is that?
So I had my boards, even my board exams for OBGYN, they held me my diploma because they said, why are you doing infertility? I said, that's what I specialized in. I mean, even that was a question. Then it was a question entering the hospital on the staff.
It is.
And it continues. That's what I'm saying. People like you should train the younger generation.
I am trying. I am working quite hard at that. But I cannot even imagine you. You are a very strong lady. So for you to navigate through all of those hurdles and obstacles, it just, whenever you were stopped, what did that make you feel? Did that drive you even more? That watch what I can do, or did it?
The second half is correct. It did drive me further to become better and better so that I can prove it to my colleagues that I can do what they're doing.
True. So do you think had you stayed back in India, you would have faced it less, or?
Well, in India, the advantage would have been that I would have had help. To be successful in medicine, there are 3 H's. One is good health, the other one is good husband, and the third
is good help.
Good help. I would never forget that. Good help.
Help, husband, and help.
Exactly.
I like
H
that.
and H and H.
I like that. I like that. But also then ethnicity would not be a negative. You would be...
Is this a negative?
I mean, if you were in India, would it be a negative?
Oh, in India, of course not. I mean, that's the big plus.
Because I tell people often that, I mean, I was born in India also. So I tell people that when I was born, India had a female leading the country.
That's why I said we're backwards. The only country we have not had a female leader.
Is this one?
Thatcher we had in England. Indira Gandhi.
Yeah. Even Pakistan,
Chile had
Bangladesh,
a female doctor, leader.
Mexico,
female.
New Zealand.
That's right.
Everywhere.
She retired.
Bangladesh, Sri Lanka.
Huh?
Bangladesh and Sri Lanka and Pakistan. Not Sri Lanka, but Pakistan had a female leader, Bhutto.
But then they assassinated her.
But he was at least
Yes.
elected. And
Bhutto was my husband's neighbor in Pakistan.
in Lahore.
Well, at that time it was not Pakistan.
It was not Pakistan then. Yeah, that is true.
Yep.
Yeah, so were you also born on that side of the country?
Yes, Lahore.
Lahore. My parents were also born in Lahore.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something in common.
So when on my mother's, on my father's passport, it's Lahore, undivided India.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. That should be in every passport.
Because they said it's Lahore is Pakistan. So I said when my mother was born, it wasn't Pakistan. The country was not divided.
That's right.
So that would be inaccurate. So, and it still breaks my heart. I mean, because we are all one people.
We're one people, but the English ruled us brutally for 300 years.
And mindlessly divided.
Correct. And then when they left, they created a big problem between East and West Pakistan.
Yeah.
But more people stayed back in India to the tune of 125 million.
Mm-hmm.
And East Pakistan, which is Bangladesh, is 35. And then West Pakistan, Allahabad is now the capital, right?
Mm-hmm.
85% went there. But more, 85%. So more stayed
in India, on the India side, yeah. No, that was a brutal time. I have heard such horrifying stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been a beautiful, wonderful conversation with you, Dr. Keswani. Do you have any regrets having moved to this country or having chosen this profession?
No regrets about the professions. I have been very satisfied and gratified with what I've done. Other than that, I really don't think I have any regrets.
At all?
No.
I'm so happy to hear that, because it's easy to be regretful and it's harder to be resourceful and navigate through life. But, people who are doers will find a way out and will learn and keep growing. Nobody can stop them. And people who are naysayers and who are looking for an excuse will always find an excuse. Like in Hindi they say, करने की एक हिंदी और उर्दू करने की एक ख्वाहिश और ना करने के 100 बहाने.
Rita, I have to stop you there. My knowledge of India is only 5 years of medical schooling. But I grew up in Manila in the Philippines.
So you did not understand anything that I said?
I do.
You do understand that?
Yeah, 5 years in India with Indian parents.
Right.
We spoke Punjabi at home.
You spoke Punjabi at home?
Yes. And Tagalog, which is the Filipino language.
Fantastic. And are you fluent in Punjabi still?
Very fluent.
Ooh.
More than Punjabi and Hindi.
Then I should be coming to you to figure out what the songs mean, because I'm heavily drawn to the folk songs.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Maybe I can translate them, but I don't know about the folk songs. But I speak fluently to anybody like my patients, and they're floored. How come you can speak so well?
So how many languages do you know?
I know my own Punjabi, English of course, and then Spanish. Because Spanish was the second language in the Philippines, having been conquered by King Philip.
Interesting.
So
that's very interesting.
Yes, I have a very happy upbringing, and I enjoy the Philippines very much.
Fantastic.
And did my 2 years of pre-med. By then, my parents were so strict as far as dating Filipino boys, so I was sent to India to do medical schooling.
And is that where you met Uncle?
Huh?
Is that where you met Uncle Keswani?
My husband? No. I knew his whole family because his first cousin, they're like brother and sister, was my roommate at med school, Sheila. And she came here to the States to do anesthesia in Chattanooga. And on her way back, she was going to London to get married. So I was doing my residency in South Jersey, and it was New Year's Eve when she arrived. And New Year's Day, we drove after being up all night on the turnpike, and she had a commitment to meet her cousin Moti in Boonton. So when we came out of the turnpike, I did not know that Route 3 was 55. So I'm still doing 60. And I got pulled over in my old dilapidated Buick. So I said, officer, I'm sorry, but what did I do wrong? He said, the speed limit. I said, oh, I'm so sorry, I thought this was the same. But I have this United Nations officer, Sheila was dressed in a sari, and she has a commitment in Boonton for 10 o'clock. He says, follow me with the motorcade. So that was amazing. And I went to park the car, but you know, their meters at that time were 10 cents. So I didn't have 10 cents. So I went up when she met her cousin, and I said, anybody has 10 cents? So my husband says that he got me for 10 cents.
What a sweet story this is. That is such a sweet story. I've seen your pictures that Sonia often posts on social media.
Yes.
Yours and uncle's, and they're absolutely adorable.
Oh, she and my husband were one.
I can imagine.
We're very close.
I can imagine. I feel the same with my dad because I lost him very early also. But yeah, Papa was 55 when he passed.
Wow, that's weird. What happened?
He had a heart attack, so that took him. But yeah, whenever I see those pictures, I see reflections of my father. But maybe because I'm also seeking that, right? I'm seeking that whenever I see father-daughter. But so now your grandson is pursuing medicine. How are we feeling about that?
Oh boy, let me tell you. 3rd year in high school, Livingston High, he comes up to me and says, Grandma, I want to be a doctor. I said, oh, it's in your genes. Yeah. And, you know, he hasn't wavered. He just graduated pre-med.
Beautiful.
He's working at the heart center. So that'll be good for his application for medicine.
That's amazing. So as we wrap it up, I cannot believe we've been talking for more than half an hour. You know, I capped this at 15 minutes or max 20 minutes. This has gone over 30. But before we close, do you have a message that you want to give to people who are watching, and especially to Alessandro, your grandson?
My grandson, I want to say, please don't go to medicine for money.
Okay.
Because there is no money in medicine. And to him. And then to the younger generation, I've been repeating this several times, that we have to train them to stand on their 2 feet. And that women are equal. They can do what men can do, and even more.
That is true. That is true. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure. Thank you for your time.
I admire you and your work.
Well,
I wish more women would do what you're doing.
I am happy to have your blessings and love. Thank you so much. And thank you for your time and your wisdom. This is a very precious video.
Oh, really?
For me.
I'm glad to say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you. Thank you for tuning into OATS Uncut. Stay tuned for more every Wednesday. Till then, till the next one, take care of yourself.